I'd be like, so Homer, how do you feel about the screen time given to these women, considering how little you spend with them? Okay.
And then do you lean forward and look at him like that?
Yes, like, remember us?
Hello, I am Homer. It has been explained to me by the people who brought me here 3,000 years into the future that there has been an adaptation of my work into what is known in the present as a film. It has also been brought to my attention that I have been accused of making a film that is at odds with the prevailing notions of morality or propriety in this society and at this time. I thought it would be obvious that I was crafting a work for my society and my time, and that it represents the cultures and morals of my society and my time. I have been told that my work is perhaps one of the two most important works in Western civilization, along with a more recent work that is simply called the book, the Bible. You see, even though Western societies changed and morality changed, my work continued to be respected and taught at schools for century after century, and people in the West simply understood that it reflects a different culture and different morality, although many of its themes and even morals have remained standard from my time until now. I'm surprised to see that although people over the last 3,000 years that included the Middle Ages and religious fanaticism and witch hunts, as I have been told, respected my work and did not judge it according to their own morals and did not try to impose their own beliefs upon my work. Now that the world has advanced so much, with so much education, technology, and inventions, it is now that people think in such a narrow-minded way that they attempt to impose their present beliefs upon my work. I do not know any works from your present time and your present culture. I have been told that we now find ourselves on the continent that in my time we did not even know existed. But I will not judge your works in accordance with my morals from my country and my time, just as you do not wish that your work be judged by people 3,000 years into the future according to their morals. Now, women in my time did not play an important role in society, so if I presented women as playing an important role, it would not have been a realistic work. How can I make myself clear? My work concerns war, and the protagonists were all men, so that's why men had to be the focus. When you make a movie about fast cars and guns and car chases, you focus on cars and guns. The people who drive the cars or shoot the guns may sometimes be women, but they are never peaceful, normal, family people. And the film does not show these normal family people living normal lives. It does not show people working or cooking or taking care of their children. When you make a police adventure movie, the people in the movie are police officers and criminals. You do not have farmers tending to their farms in these movies. And you'll say a police movie is not about farmers. Well, a war epic in my time was not about women. There are fantastic elements in my story, of course, but these have to do with our religion. Some people believe them to be true, and some did not. When you make a movie about Jesus Christ, some may consider certain elements in the movie to be of a fantastic nature, but you still keep the rest of the story as realistic as possible. The costumes, the way people behave, the social interactions, and the role of women in society. That's what I did. You may consider my society to have been sexist, which is a word that I have just learned, but this was largely a natural phenomenon. Women now may be advertising executives or accountants, but these jobs did not exist in my time. Most people were farmers, or blacksmiths, or soldiers, and these are jobs that could only be done by men because of the technology of the time. Women did do some of the easier tasks, but even these were hard work. It is only technology that made it possible for women to do most jobs today. Now, technology has made some of these jobs light enough for women to do as well. I did present women as competent, ingenious, and showed that they wield power when it was suitable for the story. But you have to remember that we have humans and gods only in our story. And our humans, unlike your, for example, Captain Marvel, are not stronger than 1,000 men put together. Furthermore, obviously, even if women could do these jobs, they would prefer not to do them. Well, I was being brought up to date about the present situation of the world, and I learned about the first people on the kibbutz in Israel. The first generation, well, they managed to make 10% of plumbers be women and 10% of kindergarten teachers men in order to build a completely non-sexist society. The next generation, however, this collapsed. No women wanted to be plumbers and no men wanted to be kindergarten teachers. From what I have learned, your society is not terribly different. You may have female police officers and firefighters now that the technology makes this possible, because it's easier to wield a gun than a sword against an enemy soldier with a stronger arm than yours. But women still make up very few of the entirety of lumberjacks or coal miners or even furniture makers. Well, I have to say something with regard to the characters. I have been told that it is you who play the role of beautiful Helen, or as you call her, Helen of Troy, and that for some reason this has caused some degree of disagreement. Yes, it is because I am black. What do you mean by that? Can't you see? I am blind. Of course I cannot see. Oh, well, then I mean that my skin is black. Really? I did not know that such people existed. Where I come from, there's different shades of tan, some approaching white and some approaching brown, but I had never heard of black. We knew of the Ethiopians, but many of us considered them to be a mythical race, kind of like Pegasus. So you mean you thought all people were white? White? You mean there's white people too? White like the clouds? Well, not that white. Ah, then I guess that by white you're talking about people like me. I guess in your society, light-skinned people are called white. But why do you play this role? It is because we understand that it is possible that Helen of Troy was black, and that we want to make an anti-racist film. In other words, we want to improve your work, enrich it in the way third world immigrants enrich our society. You say this is an improvement? My work has lasted 3,000 years, and if you have any doubts as to whether it is important or still relevant, you just have to look at yourself. You yourself are participating in an adaptation of my work. Do you think your work will last 3,000 years or 300 years, or that it will still influence people 3 years from now? As for anti-racism, you mean you took my work and changed it in order to use it as propaganda in your society, even if it is, as I think you're claiming that it is, for a good cause? But you said it is possible that Helen of Troy was black. In my country, there was not a single black person. No one even knew of the existence of such a race as an actual fact. Nearly no one had ever seen a black person. A black Helen would have been as inconceivable to us as a red one or a green one. I repeat, we did not know that people of other colors existed. I wonder what need there is in your society for anti-racist propaganda in films about works from other cultures. Are black people underrepresented everywhere in your society, in all forms of art and all jobs? I wonder if there isn't some area where there's more so-called blacks than so-called whites. Well, there is. In basketball. This is a sport, by the way. Athletics. Are blacks better than whites in this form of athletics? Well, yes. And in some other form of athletics, are whites better than blacks? Now that's a racist thing to say. Why? You just said that blacks are better than whites in a certain area. It seems to me that in your society, people suffer from a passion for double standards. So, is there such an area? Well, I guess there's ice hockey. Almost everyone is white there. Is it because whites are better than blacks? Stop saying that. It may simply mean that fewer blacks have an interest in playing ice hockey. Oh, you mean like in my society? Even if women were given the chance to become soldiers or plow the farm, they would choose not to do it. See, we're not so different after all. The point is, your work was sexist. I have just explained all that. Suppose one of your films, let's say Wonder Woman, were adopted in a Muslim country, say Iran, and the film reimagined Wonder Woman as a woman wearing a burqa, who is a housewife, who is obedient to her husband. What would you think of that? Maybe this is not the perfect example, but remember, I have just learned about the present state of the world. It is only today that I learned about the existence of Islam or Wonder Woman. And imagine if the Muslim caste condemned the creators, the American creators of Wonder Woman, because her lifestyle and mode of dress were opposed to Islamic morals and values. Suppose they condemned you for not making Wonder Woman Muslim. Now, you are clearly committing cultural racism against me and my people. I have just learned that in your society there actually exists a term for this. Presentism, judging the people of the past according to the beliefs of the present. Another term that I have just learned is cultural appropriation. You are most definitely committing cultural appropriation when you take my work and use it for your own purposes.